When President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin last met, their relationship was on the rise, making it one of the world's most closely watched. "We have had a pretty wonderful friendship, and we look forward to spending some quality time together," Trump said, as the 2019 talks began in Japan. A lot of very positive things going to come out of the relationship. 6 years later, there has been little constructive progress between Russia and the United States. 1 year after Trump left office, Putin attacked Ukraine, and in the months since he returned to the White House, Moscow has shown no indication that it will back down. Trump has grown disillusioned with Putin, accusing him of peddling bullshit over the phone previously. He hoped to utilize their friendship to terminate the war. That sets a darker tone for Friday's meeting between Trump and Putin in Alaska. Their seventh face-to-face meeting and the first of Trump's new president. "I believe he's now convinced that he's going to make a deal," Trump said on Fox Radio Thursday. "I believe he is going to. And we're going to find out. I'll know pretty soon." Like all of Trump's past encounters with Putin, the meeting at a U.S. air base north of Anchorage is fraught with ambiguity about what will be said, which results will be agreed upon, and how it will be spun afterwards. The White House has already dampened expectations for what it calls a listening exercise, despite Trump's more upbeat tone about summit success on Thursday. Meanwhile, Moscow argues that a slew of topics aimed at normalizing U.S.-Russia relations are open for discussion. At the heart of it all will be two men with a decidedly complicated relationship, long scrutinized, often clandestine, and never fully understood, even by some of Trump's closest allies, who scratch their brains every time he appears to echo a Kremlin talking point. In the 8 years since the leaders first met on the sidelines of a Group of 20 summit in Germany, their relationships have zigzagged. Trump has praised Putin and adopted his beliefs, but he has also abruptly canceled meetings out of fury and told other leaders that he believes Putin has changed for the worse. According to aides, there's a realistic adjustment and lowering of expectations, stated John Herbst, a former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine and senior director of the Atlantic Council's Eurasia Center. Even Trump is pointing out properly that you might not trust Putin. If there has been one constant, it is the shadow of the 2016 election, when U.S. intelligence agencies discovered Russia attempted to meddle on Trump's favor for years. Trump's perception of Russia and Putin has been influenced by these revelations, as well as efforts by Congress and other officials to hold individuals accountable. He has expressed sympathy for the Russian leader after having to deal with what Trump refers to as the Russia hoax. Just last summer, he threatened criminal charges against Obama administration officials, including former President Barack Obama, over the probe. It was a strain on the relationship, Trump said Wednesday, of the Russian election interference probes. He went further: "It made it very dangerous for our country, because I was unable to really deal with Russia the way we should have been." Indeed, the election involvement cast a pall over all of Trump's earlier encounters with Putin, including their inaugural session at the Hamburg G20 in 2017. These negotiations lasted more than 2 hours, with only Trump's Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, in the room. Afterward, Trump requested his interpreter's notes to ensure that the specifics of the talk were not leaked. At a leaders' dinner at the same meeting, Trump sought out Putin for another hour-long conversation, this time with no other American officials present and only Putin's interpreter to translate. The two men would meet numerous more times after that, including at an Asian leaders' conference in Da Nang, Vietnam. Trump later stated that Putin denied intervening in the U.S. election and indicated that he trusted him. "I really believe that when he tells me that, he means it," remarked the president. Trump praised Putin on his re-election, despite his national security team's caution to do not congratulate because to concerns about the contest's fairness. Afterward, Trump requested his interpreter's notes to ensure that the specifics of the talk were not leaked. At a leaders' dinner at the same meeting, Trump sought out Putin for another hour-long conversation, this time with no other American officials present and only Putin's interpreter to translate. The two men would meet numerous more times after that, including at an Asian leaders' conference in Da Nang, Vietnam. Trump later stated that Putin denied intervening in the U.S. election and indicated that he trusted him. "I really believe that when he tells me that, he means it," remarked the president. Trump praised Putin on his re-election, despite his national security team's caution to do not congratulate because to concerns about the contest's fairness. Putin, 72, has endured 5 American presidencies. The days of wandering through Moscow with Bill Clinton or visiting George W. Bush at his Texas ranch, where Bush praised Putin, saying, I was able to get a sense of his soul, are over. However, the Russian leader has grown increasingly isolated over the previous decade, chastised by much of the world for his 2014 invasion of Ukraine and Crimea, the downing of a Polish plane, a fatal nerve agent assault in the United Kingdom, and several other atrocities. Russia was ousted from the group of 8 nations after an unsuccessful reset with Obama, which included a large red prop button. Trump claimed to be stablemates with Putin before appearing on 60 Minutes, but there is no evidence of the encounter. After Trump took office, Putin attempted to re-establish his position on the global scene by hosting a high-profile summit in Helsinki. That face-to-face encounter in 2018 only fueled a Russia cloud that would stay over Trump for the rest of his first term and continue into Putin's lone visit with Joe Biden in 2021. 8 months later, Putin launched another war with Ukraine, which is still going on. That Helsinki summit, in which Trump met with Putin behind closed doors without aides, reinforced concerns about his ability to stand up to Russia's dictatorial leader. Trump faced an outpouring of bipartisan fury and global condemnation for trusting Putin's word despite substantial proof from the U.S. intelligence community that Russia interfered in an American election. We all remember that really unsettling press conference in Helsinki, where President Trump appeared to defer to Putin over the analysis of his own intelligence community, said Rear Admiral James Stavridis, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander. I sincerely hope that does not happen. I do not believe it will. It was a rare moment in Trump's administration when he recognized a mistake, declaring upon his return to the White House that he realized there is some need for clarification over his Helsinki remarks. 7 years after praising his connection with Putin, Trump appears to be less optimistic about achieving an agreement on Ukraine. This turnaround occurred only in May, when Trump stated that he would fly to Turkey to preside over a meeting with Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.